In a single fortnight, this past May, the frontier AI vendors committed more than $5 billion to one delivery shape. And if your IT organization runs somewhere between $50 million and $1 billion in revenue, almost none of that money is being spent to reach you. That sentence is the entire reason for this video. Here are the two bets. On the 4th of May, Anthropic announced a joint venture worth more than $1.5 billion with Blackstone, Hellman Friedman and Goldman Sachs to embed its engineers inside a standalone enterprise services firm. A week later, OpenAI launched a deployment company with more than $4 billion in committed capital, led by TPG, and on day one it acquired a consulting firm for roughly 150 experienced engineers. 8 days after that, KPMG announced a global alliance with Anthropic, framed around enterprise transformation. The shape these bets are funding has a name: Forward Deployed Engineer at Palantir, Applied AI Engineer at Anthropic, Forward Deployed Engineer at OpenAI. One engineer, embedded inside a single enterprise account, writing the customer-specific integration code, designing the evaluations against that customer's compliance bar, and operating the production system through every change. Top-end loaded compensation runs $300,000 to $600,000 per engineer per account. Anthropic has been public about where that engineer goes. In its own positioning, the company names 4 regulated verticals at large enterprise scale: financial services, healthcare, legal services and government. The places where the compliance perimeter is strict enough and the deal large enough to justify a human engineer embedded full-time in the account. And then, in the same document, one sentence that every mid-market CIO should read carefully. Less regulated verticals like e-commerce or media tend to be served by partner networks and self-serve API tooling instead. That is the vendor describing its own roadmap. Below the Fortune 500 regulated tier, it will not deploy embedded engineers directly. Everyone else is routed to partner networks and to self-serve APIs. Engineering-led mid-market IT sits on the wrong side of that line. And not because the work is different, but because the deal size is. A Fortune 500 financial services account, paying tens of millions a year, amortizes an embedded engineer at $500,000 without blinking. A mid-market manufacturer running half of one platform engineer on the operations side cannot. So if your procurement team forwarded you the May announcements, you read them correctly. The forward deployed engineer will not be coming to your office, which leaves 3 structural responses, and it is worth being honest about each one, because 2 of them are genuinely the right answer, just not for your deal size and not on your timeline. The first response is to buy the vendor's API directly and self-serve. And the drafting tool you get is genuinely good, but the harness around it, the integrations into your systems, the evaluations against your compliance bar, the change management to get a human approver into the loop, the ops capability to run it through the next platform shift. That is the work the embedded engineer does at the Fortune 500 tier. Self-serve is the right answer when your engineering bench is deep enough to build that harness in-house. For a capacity-bounded team, it is the failure mode, the cognitive surrender essay catalogued. The model ships the work, and nobody owns the reasoning. The second response is to commission a Big 4 transformation program. At enterprise scale, this is the right work at the right altitude. It designs the operating model, sequences the rollouts, manages the change. But the first piece of production work tends to land somewhere between 6 and 12 months out, after discovery and design and vendor selection. At mid-market deal size, the cost of time math runs against it. A multi-million-dollar engagement that ships its first workflow in month 12 is the wrong fit when the operations layer you are sponsoring has a calendar deadline and a board that wants visible work this quarter. The third response is the operations partner model, a managed provider that takes operational accountability for the AI capability you are sponsoring, runs it on your cloud with scoped, revocable access, governs every action through named approver gates and a replayable audit trail, and operates the whole assembly across the next platform shift on a multi-year agreement. This is not a new shape at mid-market IT. It is the shape cyber insurance underwriting against AI-touched operations already runs on today. 4 things make it fit where the other 2 do not. First, the unit economics land in the band your IT budget actually approves. High 5 figures to low 6 figures per pipeline, not $500,000 per engineer. Second, the accountability fits your estate. The partner brings the platform bench you do not have, and you keep the data, the relationships, and the audit trail. Third, the governance posture is the artifact your CFO, your CISO, and your insurance carrier all need anyway. And fourth, it fits the timeline you have to commit to in public. A 2-week measured pilot against a defined operational metric, with a clean exit if the metric does not move. So here is the decision on 3 criteria you already have on hand. Engineering bench depth. Do you have 2 or more platform engineers free to own the harness layer for the next 18 months? If so, self-serve is operable. If the bench is thinner, the harness is the partner's work. Time to first workflow. Has the board approved a multi-quarter discovery and design sequence? Then the Big 4 program fits. If the operations layer has a 2026 production deadline, the program cannot ship in time. And audit posture readiness. Do these workflows have to survive a cyber insurance renewal, a regulator review, or a diligence cycle? Then, the documented governance posture is the deliverable that closes them. The bias note, so you have it. I run G-Go. And the operations partner model is exactly what we build. Deterministic recipes, named approvers, a replayable audit trail, 10 layers of governance. So weigh the argument against the version a buyer-side skeptic would write before any procurement conversation, including ours. The structural point holds either way. The vendors have told the market who gets the embedded engineer. An engineering-led mid-market IT is not on the list. The decision your IT organization makes about which model to run, in the embedded engineer's absence, is the operations question for the rest of 2026. Score your own AI governance against the 10-layer model. The link is in the description. And if you want the field guide that breaks down all 3 responses side by side, message me the letters FDE on LinkedIn. The vendors have named the category and capitalized it. The decision about what to run in its place is yours. I'm Cheyenne Ming. Thanks for watching.